Narratives are narratives for a reason. It's because they're true. Miami Dolphins, 8 games in a row in the bad weather, 8 most likely losses in a row. There's a few minutes left. They went into Green Bay tonight. The temperature around, actually, not a terrible 27 degrees, felt like it was 15 degrees. Miami didn't lose this game because it was cold and they're from South Florida. Miami lost this game for a myriad of reasons. Penalties, absolutely sloppy. Missed tackles, absolutely sloppy. Stiffness, you saw it from the beginning of the game with Malik Washington and the muff punt that turned into being a touchdown. And also, it looked like they kind of didn't know what they were doing, while Green Bay looked like it was a walk in the park. Another thing is bad play calling, and it was most evident when Miami got down on the goal line 27-11 with about 10 minutes left in the fourth quarter. It goes Devon Achane down to the goal line. Okay, Devon Achane, negative 2-yard run. Weird kind of out pass to Jonnu Smith, incomplete. Then on 4th and 2, we had Alec Ingold leading for blocking, not a run, a weird kind of try to pass sack to Tagovailoa. That right there maybe sacked the game. Hate to say it, maybe sacked the series. How you doing? Happy Thanksgiving, by the way. I am Dan Day with my cousin Vladimir Lewisson. I am happy to be spending my Thanksgiving with my family. Vlad, I sat there with you and I said, wait, how is it third down? How was it fourth down? I thought we were about to just walk into the end zone and make this a game. It was about to be 27-19 or 27-17. Like, what? And what did you tell me? What were the words you told me? How did this happen? How did I think that we're about to just walk in the end zone and now all of a sudden the game and the season are pretty much kaput?
Mike McDaniel.
Bad play calling.
That's it. I can't understand this because you've been saying this for over a year now, that defenses have finally caught up to Mike McDaniel's offensive scheme. I can't understand why it takes late in the game when the team is basically, when you are up 2 possessions or 3 possessions, you're basically playing a safe defense. So you're going to find holes where you're going to find Waddle and Tyreek, and they were able to, make plays towards the end of the game. But in the first half, nothing. And you mentioned this earlier. Special teams was dismal. Defense can't tackle. And offense can't move the ball. Tua was either overthrowing guys, underthrowing guys. You wanted to kill the narrative that you can't play in cold weather, and you did not do that.
Oh, and that you could beat a playoff-worthy team, and that you can be good, and you can be on the road, and it can be cold, and that doesn't matter. We're not wearing gloves. Well, figure it out. This is where you can know right away that this Dolphins team, although not bad, not good, not elite. This is what good, elite playoff teams do at the end of the half. The Dolphins get the ball with about 1:30 left, and they get the ball back in the second half. What do good teams do? They go down, they score, they get the ball back in the second half, and they score again. Dolphins not only do not score, Green Bay scores a field goal, and then what do we do when we get the ball back in the second half? 3 and out. You're telling me that's a playoff team? You're telling me that's a good team?
And then what did Green Bay do? They scored 3 points.
Another 3 points again
in its first possession in the second half, which basically means they scored 6 points in their last 2 possessions, which would have been what the Dolphins would have wanted to do. Yeah, I'm sorry, bro.
You can't convince me anymore.
This is 3 years. I let things marinate. I know we're in a world where you want to jump the gun on everything, but Mike McDaniel's play calling in these situations, in these games against good teams, on the road, cold weather, it leaves a lot to be desired.
And yeah, and you could say, oh, they started getting their rhythm when they were down 27-11. Yeah, when the team went into a prevent defense, basically. And then you got down to the goal line. Devon Achane, like I said, runs it almost in, gets to the 1-yard line. Negative run, 2 yards for Devon Achane. A weird kind of outlet pass to Jonnu Smith, incomplete. And then a sack where the offensive line did nothing. And there was a holding even, and that wasn't even enough. You can't convince me now that this is a good Dolphins team that, number one, cannot beat a good team, period. The Cowboys is the only good team they've beaten in the past 2 years, and that was a false team. Can't win on the road in cold weather.
And here's the thing. The narrative is cold weather, right? But that's why I didn't want to hear any excuses tonight. It was 28 degrees out there, bro.
Right.
That was balmy. That's balmy there. Yeah, it snowed a little bit, but whatever. These guys shouldn't. This was way warmer than what they faced against Kansas City.
Yeah.
And I want to say they play. I mean, they making a comeback in the second half, but
damage was done.
Damage was done already, bro.
Damage was done.
First half, you're down 24-3.
24-3 at halftime. And like I said, instead of when you had the ball at the end of the first half, going down, getting some points, getting it back in the second half, getting some more points, and saying, we're making a stamp on this game, you let Green Bay score a field goal after you didn't score at the end of the half. You gave them the ball back, and in 30 seconds, they scored. Then you come in second half, 3 and out. They score a field goal. Then they come back. It's just no excuses. Want to hear from you. 305-567-0560. We are live. The phone lines are open. We want to hear from you, the Dolphins fan. I've been saying it for a week, Vlad. This is the litmus test. This is a litmus test. Can you go in Thanksgiving night against a good Green Bay team in the cold weather, destroy all the narratives, and say, we're going to go on a run? They have proven to me, Vlad, that this team, at least at this point right now, is not a very good team, or not a terrible team, but not a good team, because they are showing you signs of being not a good team. With the penalties, absolutely terrible. The tackling, oh my goodness. Now the secondary is beat up to hell. I'm not giving them a pass, but I am saying they're beat up to hell. They've got Saron Neal out there penalized all over the place because he's trying to play defense when he's a special teams player nowadays. But they're not showing signs of being a good team, much less a playoff team. And I'll tell you this, Vlad, tell me if I'm crazy. Matt LaFleur outcoached Mike McDaniel today.
Yeah.
Matt LaFleur outcoached Mike McDaniel. Straight up.
You're not going to get any pushback from me. Yes.
We got a delay of game on a fourth down where we went for it. Then we brought the field goal unit out. They were offsides or lined up in the neutral zone. Green Bay was lined up in the neutral zone all day. Then went for it on fourth down, and we did get it. But goodness gracious. So it's 30-17 with it's going to be 2 minutes left. You're down by 13, and the Dolphins will be getting the ball back. We shall see what will happen. My faith is very low right now in these Miami Dolphins. If they can score a touchdown, maybe try for an onside kick. I don't know. It looks like Green Bay, though, just kind of knew what they needed to do, and they did exactly that. The Dolphins just kind of looked like they were always just trying to make it happen. Can't win in the cold. Can't beat a decent team.
And Tua's numbers are good.
Yeah.
32 for 40. But some of this is empty. Sorry. Some of this is damn.
It's empty calories.
Sorry for arguing my voice. Some of this is empty calorie numbers, bro, right now. You know what I mean? Like, they played better in the second half, but come on, you cannot start a game. You can't start a game. You got the field goal 3-0. That was it. First half, you did not get Tyreek or Jalen Waddle involved. And where was the running game? No establishment of the running game whatsoever.
And the defense missed tackles all over the place and got out physical, and Josh Jacobs ran all over you. It's just one of those things. Jalen Wright gets 0 carries tonight. We're going to get to the stats and the facts. It is empty calories, Tua Tagovailoa. And by the way, when we needed Tua to be accurate and great at the end of the first half, this is where I feel as though the game was lost. At the end of the first half, and I'm going to keep bringing it up. Tua, remember, threw a duck over Tyreek Hill's head, almost got Malik Washington murdered with that terrible pass. And then I want to say he threw a bad pass to, was it Jonnu Smith, that was incomplete, and and it was a turnover on downs. I'm trying to think. Sloppy play. It was, Devon Achane. He threw a bad pass to Devon Achane. Then they came down, kicked a field goal, and went into halftime 24-3. You're down 24-3 on the road against a playoff caliber team. I don't care what the weather is. It's probably not going to happen. You're probably not going to come back. Yet miraculously, you do drive down with about 10 minutes left, 27-11, and I thought it was a walk. And like I said, I was joking with you, Vlad, thinking, oh man, no worries, we got this. And lo and behold, they find a way to get it to third down, then fourth down, get a sack, a hold. Green Bay gets the ball back, and it's like, what just happened there? What just happened? Penalties, missed tackles, stiffness, and bad play calling. That's a recipe of not being a playoff team.
A disaster.
And now they're going to put some, like you said, they're putting lipstick on a pig.
Right. It's not that they might score another one, and the score would not indicate the fact that Mike McDaniel's play calling,
Coaching.
and the whole team, each facet.
Yeah, we have to do a player of the game.
Special teams.
We have to do a JM
offense,
Lexus player of the game. And as I was watching the game, I'm like, I'm trying to think who my player of the
John
game
Smith.
is. Yeah, but he had a lot of penalties too. He had these personal fouls.
Tua is going to be putting up unbelievable numbers. So, number wise, but like I said, this is like you said earlier, this is like putting makeup on a
pig.
Like, no, this is not going to stop the fact that this team was down 24-3.
Yeah, at halftime.
Down 30-11 to start the fourth quarter. And that's it. I'm sorry.
It just seems like
they were down. When were they down? 24-11?
They were down 27-11. It was 27. It was 24-3 at halftime. They
were down 27-11, and they had the ball
on the 1 yard line.
And what did we say, Dan? Going to like they have to score this because they got the ball back in the third quarter, and what was I saying? They need to go in the 2-minute drill.
You said they need to score with 12 minutes on the clock. I said
12 minutes left.
I said no. They don't have to have that much time, but the quicker the better. And the lack of urgency.
I felt like in the middle of the third quarter, they should have gone no huddle. They should have gone 2-minute drill because Green Bay has the lead. They can run the ball the way Josh Jacobs was running and the way the tackling was. They were going to milk the clock. You need to score to put pressure on them so that they don't feel comfortable. They got the ball. They drove down the field. Fourth quarter, it was 12 minutes left in the game?
Yeah.
HN, first and goal, 7-yard run. Great run.
He almost got in.
Second and goal, they go outside to try to run the ball. He gets stopped. Third and goal, like you said, Jonnu Smith.
What a weird pass.
Ball deflected.
And then fourth down, I don't know what the play was going to be because it got blown up immediately. But yeah, you bring up a good point, Vlad. I still thought they were cool. So when they get the ball at the beginning of the fourth, literally, so they got the ball with about a couple of seconds left, and they had an injury, and they ended up.
It was an injury that gave them an extra play for the third quarter.
So they basically had the ball at the beginning of the fourth quarter, and you said they got to score and have still about 12 minutes left in the clock. I said, they don't have to rush that much. You score, you make it a one-possession game, you make it an 8-point game. Like, let's say 27-11, you score, you get the 8. Let's get the 2-point conversion.
Right.
It's 27-19. It's an 8-point game. All the pressure, all the momentum's changed.
And the reason why I said that was because you don't have room forever.
Nope. Yeah.
So you converted
laser thin.
You were down 24. So you need to score 3 possessions and get 3 2-point conversions. And the chances of that happening is not great.
Yeah, saying it even sounds crazy, but go ahead.
But the reason why I say score early with at least 12 minutes is at least if you scored a touchdown and don't convert the 2-point possession, 2-point possession, you're still down 10.
Right.
So that's still a achievable goal to get. You're still able to get. You maybe get 2 possessions. You could score a field goal, not necessarily have to score a touchdown. But if you do score a touchdown, stop them. Now the next possession is either field goal to tie the game or win the game.
And another thing is you put pressure on a team that's Thanksgiving. They had a big lead. They start getting a little, their quarterback has been known to throw it to the other team and try to make things happen.
Like last week was the first time in 11 games that he did not throw an interception.
Now he's doing it again.
But you put the pressure on them. They were not playing with any pressure. Nobody. And once again,
you were right. There was no sense of urgency.
Sense of urgency.
I didn't think there had to be the greatest sense of urgency, but maybe push the button a little bit. I thought that they could have pushed it a little bit. You were right on that part.
And another thing, Green Bay was out more physical than them.
Yeah, they were.
They were out physical again. And then here he goes, fumbles the ball, almost loses the ball again. Common thing with him. Just bad all around, bro. Bad all around. Teron Armstead, 2 plays, he gets beat. I know that the one where it was Tua moved up in the pocket, but the second one, it seemed like Mostert was supposed to chip, but he got beat. And you don't want to put Tua in those positions where he has to get out the pocket and has to decide to scramble or not. But that's it.
That's
Game's
going to do
over.
it. Final score from Green Bay, 30-17. Let's keep it a buck, Vlad, because we're always honest. It is game day uncensored. We're not going to hold back. I'm going to tell you the truth, Vlad. Tonight looked like one team that had it together and is a playoff team, and another team that looked like pretenders.
There it is.
We'll come back. We'll get you some stats and facts from this game. 305-567-0560, the number to call if you want to call in this Thanksgiving night. Thank you for joining us. For my cousin Vladimir Lewis, I am Dan Day. Stick around. This is Game Day Uncensored on 560 WQAM.
Williamson Automotive.
So the Dolphins, no surprise here. We keep thinking there's going to be a chance we're going to make a playoff run. We keep thinking they're going to change the narrative. That's all they talked about all preseason. Everything on the 24s. We haven't won a playoff game in 24 years. This is the year that we change everything. We're going to go into the cold weather and we're going to win. We're going to beat playoff teams. But sorry, nothing has changed. I got to be real with you. I thought this was the litmus test of the season. It is. And right now, this Dolphins team, nope, pretender. Just absolute pretender. 305-567-0560. We got Neil out in California. Neil, welcome in. Happy Thanksgiving, by the way, Neil.
Yeah, thank you guys. And hey, you know what? I appreciate you guys. But, and I will just go so far as to say that the narrative changed 3 plays into the game.
Okay, yeah.
And the 4th play, the narrative flipped back.
You're right. Neil, is that when you gave up hope and when Malik Washington muffed that punt and they got the ball?
Pretty much, because, you know, after that, they just gave up more points and more points and more points. And eventually it's just, I don't know why I'm watching. It's a train wreck.
And did when you saw Malik Washington field that punt before that even came down, I was like, he looks so out of position and so lost. He looks so much like a Dolphins player against a good team and in the cold weather. You just knew that punt was going to get muffed and they were going to recover it. Was there any chance that you weren't going to get the ball, that you were going to get the ball back?
No, I mean, I when I was in high school, I was a safety, I was a punt returner, and when the ball got up there and you couldn't track it right, you let it go.
Get out of there.
I mean, it's like rule number 1, high school.
Neil, I want to ask you this.
We had a bunch of bad, pro players who don't know the rules, and they make us look bad.
Neil, I still need some explanation on this because my cousin Vladimir, he tried to explain it to me as much. What happened with about 10 minutes left in the 4th quarter, 27-11? We get the ball on the goal line. Can't get 1 yard. We turn it over on downs. How did that I blinked and it happened. Have I been drinking too much this Thanksgiving? I think I'm pretty sober. What happened? Why did that happen?
Because you know what? We got a coach who hasn't figured out how to get a yard.
A yard.
How many times have we seen him? How many times have we seen him with 3rd and 1 or 4th and 1 and we don't make it? That's on the coach. And I got to tell you, like, the coach can go too. Like, Chris Greer needs to go, but the coach can go too now.
Well,
he's a little too cute.
He's not going to go.
Puts us in that position. It's time to go.
Unfortunately, he's not going to go because he just got an extension. But my question would be, in that situation, guys, where's Mr. Wright? Why wasn't he put in the game?
0.
Huh? In this cold weather, a bruiser like that, a guy who can get you 1 or 2 yards in the goal line. That was it right there. Obviously, that was the game.
Guess what? Green Bay knew what to do. They have a guy called Josh Jacobs that once led the league in rushing and is a tough runner. They knew to get him the ball.
Yeah, that Dolphin running back that they picked up, Chris Brooks. I remember him at Cal. He was a bone crusher.
Oh yeah, he was getting
now he's playing for the other side.
Yeah, he was running on the Dolphins, man.
So we've been sold a bag of goods. It's starting to feel like Mike McDaniel, the run guru, couldn't get the ball in from the 1 yard line after Devon Achane on 1st down, got to the goal line. Then, 2nd down, he got a 2 yard stoppage. Hey, that happens. Then the weird pass to Jonnu Smith. Then I really thought they had a good play set up. I saw Alec Ingold going in for a block. I thought they were going to give it to Devon Achane and they were going to try to run it in on 4th down. Nope, it's a Tua sack. And that right there is when I said, that's it. That's it. We're done.
Yeah.
You could be the Chicago Bears and Matt Eberflus over there calling absolutely redonkulous plays and not calling timeouts. But I don't know. This one doesn't feel that much better.
No.
At least they were in the game at the end.
Yeah, I got nothing good to say about that game tonight. Like, that was just
Neil.
Nobody does.
Neil, it was 24-3 at halftime. If you're not a Dolphins fan and you're a casual fan, let's just say in Kansas City. I'm trying to think of a town that maybe doesn't have a football team. Like you're in El Paso, Texas,
San Antonio,
and you're at a bar and you're watching the game. You're like, I ain't paying attention to this no more. This is a blowout, right?
Right.
The only reason you stuck with it is because you were a Dolphins fan and you had hope.
Yep. And then they scrape us down the field. Like first, like you said, well, I mean, was it 2nd and goal at the 1?
Yeah.
Can't get it in.
Can't get and of course the halftime thing. You've heard me. I said that instead of us getting the ball right before halftime, scoring, getting it back, scoring, we let them get a field goal, go 3 and out in the second half, and get. That's just it's unbelievable. Neil, happy Thanksgiving. Neil. We really do appreciate that.
Thank you guys, man. We'll talk again. Thanks.
Yes. 305-567-0560. Let's go back to the phone lines. 560 WQAM. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, Dan, this is Sean. I'm going to tell you to punt all the time.
Sean, I know you're ready to tell me what to do, man. And you know what? I can't argue with you. Go ahead.
Nah, bro. No. You're a fan. And look, I get it. We want the Dolphins to win. Exactly. But they didn't give me anything this year to tell me that they can beat. It's not brain surgery. They beat bad teams.
Yeah.
They lose to good teams.
Yeah.
And I saw that weeks ago. I mean, and it's just what it is, man. And like the last caller, I'm still gonna hold Chris Greer accountable. He said a playoff win. He laughed at the fans. Remember that?
Yeah.
You know, it's time. Look, you don't give me a playoff win, it's time for you to go. And I think a lot of people would agree with me.
Sean, you know, the thing is, all year long, they've been saying, we're changing the narrative. Everything's different now. This is a different team. I started believing in the run game. I started believing in this. And lo and behold, in a game where they had everything to prove, every way to change the narrative, they did the exact opposite and proved the narrative to be absolutely true.
But Dan, God bless you, man. We're 0 for 4 on prime time.
Mm-hmm. Well, we
can't beat a good team. Well, come on. Okay, I'll give you that.
Tua is also 0 for 8 in games where the temperature is under 45 degrees.
So there's something to that, right?
You're right. Numbers don't lie, Sean. You're right. Numbers do not lie.
So where do we go next? That's the thing. Because, this is what I don't want to hear on Monday morning, man. I don't want to hear if this, if that,
no.
if this team wins. I don't want to hear that no more, man.
You're going to hear
we got to think about next year.
You're going to hear it. You're going to hear it.
I know, Vlad.
Because
I know.
you know why you're going to hear it? Because we're going to watch the games on Sunday, and some teams that are ahead of the Dolphins that you needed to lose is going to lose. And then we're going to look at the schedule and think, okay, well, we got 2 games against the Jets. We got game against Cleveland. The Niners aren't the same team that we thought they would be. And the Texans haven't been the same Texans from last season. But
here's
the thing. We all know even if they get in the playoff, they're not going to beat anybody.
No.
So you're stuck right now. It's nasty work right now. You're stuck in the middle of mediocrity.
And yes, sir. And and every team you mentioned to me just now is saying the same thing about the Dolphins.
That's the thing. When you said they could be bad teams, I'm like, yeah, they were losing to bad teams too early in the season and during the season. Like, you're not supposed to lose to Tennessee. You're not supposed to lose to the Colts, even with the backup quarterbacks.
Right. I'm so frustrated, man, with this. Because I stay up. I'm watching the game, and you're hoping, you're wishing, you're praying, but you just know how this is going to end.
Yeah, we should have known after that muff punt. We should have known when they were down at halftime, and I told you that terrible sequence of not scoring and then letting Gameday score.
Fourth quarter,
but then the fourth quarter, that fourth down, how we even got in that situation, that's when I said, Vlad, Sean's right, punt on the season. I mean, it's too late to punt now on the season, you know what I mean? But you were right.
You know what bothers me, guys, Sean and Dan?
What's that?
Is the fact that they were starting to, poke their chest out after the win against the Patriots. And started to have me believe that, man, if they win this game against Green Bay and go 6-6, the schedule really falls in their favor. And they had people starting to believe. And then
that's the thing, man. But it's bad teams they were beating.
Right. No, the only
it was all bad teams.
I'm not even gonna say the only good team, Sean. The only playoff team we beat in the past 2 seasons has been the Dallas Cowboys, and we know they were kind of frauds because they're
just the NFC version of the Miami Dolphins.
Yeah. So one team had
real talk.
It was a war of attrition. It took us a bunch of field goals and a last-second field goal on Christmas Eve to beat them at home.
Where do we go next with this at the end of the season? That's what I want to know. Where do we go next?
Well, here's the nastiness.
There's nowhere to go.
Yes, sir.
There's really
nowhere to go.
You
Sean.
can't tank because you tank. Are these guys going to tank where you can get you try to get a good draft pick to really solidify a position that you need for the next 5 years or so? Or do you still continue to try to win and get in the playoffs and may not get in the playoff, but now you have like a pick number 19.
Let me ask you this, and let me ask both of you this: would you guys feel better if one person's no longer in the organization? Chris Greer?
I would feel better. Yes.
I think that would. Well, look, I have a saying.
Would that?
I have a
Yes, sir.
saying. It goes from the power,
true.
from power to show. Street's gonna need a body, and somebody's gonna have to take the fall for this season's it's for this season's disappointment.
And I'm looking at contracts, and I'm looking at players, and I'm looking at people, and there's one person that looks like they got the bullseye on their back.
You want to hear the nastiness, Sean? That here's the thing,
sir,
bro. If you really break it down, and I really didn't want to do this, but I told this to Dan. If there was a season the Dolphins could really like kind of screw the pooch, it would be this season. Because you know why? Those contracts don't kick in until next season. Tyreek, Waddle,
Daniel,
Tua, they don't kick in until next season because those are extensions.
Man.
So next season is really the season for everyone. Because after this, what can become a disappointing, just like nothing but more than disappointing season, the next season is everybody. Everybody's on the foreman to me. Everybody's on the road.
Oh, Sean, you're right. If we have another season next year like we do this year, when you called a punt early in the season, I'm going to back you up 100% because you can't have all those contracts and have the same type of result that you've had this season next season.
I don't like calling the show when they lose, man, because I just seem like a hater, man. I really am a Dolphins fan. I'm a Texas here. I live here. I've been here 10 years, man. I really want to do it, but, man, it's frustrating because some of the fans have been here 50 years, and I can't believe it.
We're all there with you, Sean. We're all frustrated. We're all still riding or dying with our team, but it's just we've done a lot of dying. We want to do a little bit more riding. But you know what, Sean? I'm thankful that you're our friend, man. Thank you so much for calling in and hanging out with us tonight. We appreciate it.
Hey, man. Thanks for the call. Thanks for taking my call.
Thank you, man.
Woo! Dolphins lose again.
Not like I said, bro. Like I said, reading a message on the YouTube and Twitch, Cat for Life saying Joe Rose said that everybody's coming back. Yeah, I figured that out weeks ago. I was like, you know what? If you really think about it, they could have messed up this season because the contracts really don't kick in till next season.
Well,
but you know what? What do I always say, Cousin? There's context in losing. There's context, right? So there's context in how your season begins and ends. If they were still a playoff team, they won a game this year, they won a game in the playoff, then you're really looking at next season like, all right, we're ready to make that jump, and everybody's contracts kick in, boom, everybody's solidified, the nucleus there. Now even though everybody's coming back, depending on how next season is, if there's no improvements, if there's no step up, what are you going to do with that nucleus?
Yeah. Oh, no. Yeah, absolutely. What are you going to do? Look, this is the thing. All week long, we want to change a narrative. If you want to change a narrative, you have to change it. We're going to change it. Well, guess what? If you don't want to be called McFraud, if you don't want to be called frauds, if you don't want to be called soft, go out there and make us not call you that. I'm going to take a break, cool down a little bit. It's Game Day Uncensored on 560 WQAM.
On HD2 and always live on the free Odyssey app.
Sponsored by South Florida Lexus dealers, Tito's Handmade Vodka, Edmore Sawgrass Cadillac, JM Lexus, and Williamson Automotive.
Dolphins live up to their narrative of not playing well against good teams, not winning against good teams, and not playing that great in cold weather. Everyone did their part to not be great and lose 30-17 to the Green Bay Packers side on Thanksgiving night. Vlad, we're going to hear from Mike McDaniel and maybe Tua later. I don't know. I hear callers call in 305-567-0560, and you can call into the show. Absolutely. They're frustrated, and rightfully so. This team has been extremely frustrating. This organization has been extremely frustrating without winning a playoff game in 24 years, and it's most likely going to be 25 now. The thing is, we're frustrated as fans, and these guys get up there like, oh, I think we progressed a lot tonight, and I think there's a lot of, no, be upset. Say, damn it, we came in on Thanksgiving and froze our what's up for this. We got to change something. And, I didn't love Tim Tebow, but he would go out there and do that in college. And maybe just a little bit, instead of acting like, oh, what a tough game. Maybe something needs to change in that organization, Vlad. There's something about that drives me bananas. Doesn't it anger you that they sometimes are just kind of, there's some things that are okay with this team. We just,
It's like you want to believe when they're saying that. You know what I mean?
They don't look like they're upset as we are. Why are you and I more upset right now than some of the players on the Dolphins, it seems like?
It totally because I feel bad. And I know people can think it's crazy, but I feel bad for this fan base and these guys in this way that, look, we want them to succeed. We want them to perform. It's good for us. We have some content to talk about. We have, it's good for us as well as the fan base.
It's not good
but
for
when
me.
you this is the big game. This is one of the top 5 biggest games that you want in an NFL season.
Yeah.
You want, obviously, the number one game you want is opening night, Thursday night, because that means you won the Super Bowl the previous year. That's the number one. But you want to be on Thursday night, on Thursday, Thanksgiving.
Christmas, Thanksgiving.
Well, Christmas is new now.
Opening night.
But opening night, or open that Thursday or that Sunday or even that Monday, you want to be there, showcase the season. And the other game after that, you want to be involved Thanksgiving Day. And then when they included a primetime game, that became the biggest game. Not the Detroit game, not the Dallas game, which are traditional games. When you look at this year's games, 3 weeks ago, buddy, I thought this was going to be one of the crappiest triple headers I was going to see because neither of the teams other than Green Bay and Detroit were good. But after the Dolphins won 3 games, you went into LA on a Monday night, you beat the Rams. You beat the Raiders handedly.
Patriots easy.
You mollywopped the Patriots.
You
made this game Thursday night the battle of 2020 quarterbacks, Jordan Love versus Tua Tagovailoa.
Who do you love more? Who's better? Who deserved to be picked higher?
Mike McDaniel against Matt LaFleur. I always say they all from the Kyle Shanahan tree. They're all Madden. Yeah, they're all Madden coordinators because I feel like they all play Madden against each other on the Wi-Fi. What I'm saying, and that's how they created some of the schemes that they do. But there's familiarity, and you're playing in Green Bay. You're playing in one of the most nostalgic, historic stadiums.
Yeah, if you can't get up for that,
bro. And the weather was cold. Yes, it was cold.
It was manageable.
But it was manageable cold.
I've lived in Wisconsin. Trust me, that is a manageable night. And when you start playing, it's not as cold. And I know you're not playing Dan, but no. You're professional.
What did you say this week? You came out, your quarterback comes out and says,
You mentioned the significance of the coming game. What do you think about maybe playing in some cold in Green Bay?
Yeah, I'm excited to kill narratives. So let's go. Bring it on.
Okay. So here's the narratives. What happens to Mike McDaniel when he goes against winning capable teams?
Loss.
What happens to the offense?
Average.
Okay. I don't care if that they scored another touchdown. They pretty much scored 11 points the whole game.
They came a yard away, but you know what? Almost
They
doesn't
scored
count.
11 points.
Yep.
Again,
Terrible play calling, by the way. Didn't work.
they don't score points when they go against winning teams.
Nope.
Except for that Buffalo game. They lost that Buffalo game a couple of weeks ago. But
Tyler Bass.
it is what it is.
I'll leave you with this, Vlad.
And then my last thing,
Okay,
Kuzan.
please.
What was this man known for?
Running the ball.
Hmm.
Yeah, we're going to get to the stats, or lack thereof, running stats in this game, by the way, in just a minute. But I'm going to leave you with this before we go to break, and we're going to come back with the stats. Let's give you not a mid-season, but a somewhat mid-late season report card on the big games you had circled on the calendar this year if you're a Dolphins fan. Week 2, Buffalo Bills at home. Was that Thursday Night Football? Your chance to change the narrative. 31-10, and it wasn't that close. Okay, not so great. Another one that you maybe had circled on the calendar. You had the Buffalo Bills at their place. Another chance to change the narrative. Go in there, beat Buffalo in their house. The weather's not going to be terrible. It's a good stepping stone. You lose. 61-yard field goal at the end, 30-27. The LA Rams on Monday night. Is that one you circle on the calendar simply because it's Monday night and it's the Rams? Okay, you beat them 23-15. Another one definitely circled on the calendar. Thanksgiving night in Green Bay, a chance to pay a playoff team. Battle of quarterbacks, battle of coaches, national TV. Change the narrative. Everyone said it. You go out there and you could beat 30-17, and it was really kind of not that close. Anything else circled on the calendar that we want to lose? San Francisco 49ers are coming to town. They're beat up December 22nd. We'll see how good they are back then. The Texans, you got to go to the Texans. That's going to be indoors. So, yeah, not so good on the big circle the calendar games for the Dolphins so far this year. Got some stats for you. Going to hear from Coach McDaniel later in the show. This is Thanksgiving edition of Game Day Uncensored on 560 WQAM.
WQAM Miami, WPOW HD2 Miami, WKIS HD2 Boca Raton, an Odyssey Sports Station.
Powered by Anajar and Levine Accident Attorneys.
Call 1-800-7473.
That's 1-800-747-3733.
Game Day Uncensored Post-Game Edition.
Keep rolling. Don't be stressed. I know what's on line.
Recapping the Fins game. Real reaction, real opinions, real talk for real fans.
That sounds amazing.
On AM 560 Sports, WQAM, FM 99.9 HD2, and always live on the free Odyssey app.
Game Day Uncensored is sponsored by South Florida Lexus Dealers. Experience amazing by Tito's Handmade Vodka. Tito's Handmade Vodka on game day? Pour me in, coach. Edmore Sawgrass Cadillac. Make sure your next Cadillac is backed by Morse at Edmore Sawgrass Cadillac. Proud partner of the Miami Dolphins by JM Lexus. At JM Lexus, you'll always get the home team advantage. And by Williamson Automotive. Williamson is Miami.
If there is something to be thankful for this Thanksgiving, at least sports-wise, it is finding out that this Dolphins team, they ain't the one. Sorry, we've said it all year, like, this is the game. If they win this game, if they lose this game, this is the one. And I'm not going to crawfish on you, Vlad. You know, some people say, like, and I said all week long, this is the litmus test. Are we for real? Are we changing the narrative? Or are we just the same old, can't beat playoff teams, can't win in the cold, can't win any type of big game in the national eye? And I said, this is a tell-all. I'm drawing a line in the sand. I'm not going to crawfish on you. This Dolphins team is not elite. This Dolphins team, no, I don't consider them even a playoff team or even a playoff contender right now. Now, they might go on this great run, but once again, Vlad, you bring it up, and Sean also brought it up on the phone. Let's say this team does go on a run and makes it into the playoffs. You think they can go into Buffalo, Kansas City,
That's what
Baltimore?
That's exactly what I was thinking. And, you know, when we were talking with the caller, Sean, and we all appreciate him calling. We appreciate you guys listening on, you know, this holiday. What did they give you? Like, what sense? Like, what kind of, like, yeah, what can you pinpoint and say, you know what? They proved something to me right here that even if the season may not have started the way that it did, they're proving that, you know, you got to fight through it. They got some, they got perseverance.
Mm-hmm.
They got some resolve.
This year, they're a ball control team. They're not a flashy team.
Think about it, because you really think about it. I'm looking at this. I'm looking at it. You would look at this if they were able to win. It's a 4-game winning streak, but at least this was a legitimate team that you've beaten in this 4-game winning streak. So if you go on a run, it doesn't matter, because the narratives that everybody was putting on you, that you can't beat a good team, you can't beat a good team on the road, and you can't beat a good team, and you can't win in the cold. So forget that you can't. The narratives, you can't beat a good team. You can't beat a good team on the road, and you can't win in the cold, just at all. Much less you can beat a good team in the cold. So now you got the 3 narratives that everybody's put on you, right?
Yeah, I'm changing any of them.
Like you said, 24. They haven't been in the playoffs in 24 years. Or they haven't won in the playoffs in 24 years. This week, after winning against New England, I'm in the locker room, bro. I'm in the locker room. Music is playing loud now. You don't hear, I didn't hear no music when they were losing, but I'm hearing music now, to the point I got to get really up close to the players now, because I want to make sure that you could hear what they're saying, because the music is blasting now. They're peacocking. They're feeling themselves.
That's okay.
And rightfully so.
Yeah. I have no problem with that.
But my thing was this. Green Bay might have been the last game they would be an underdog if they win this game. So Green Bay, they were a 3.5-point underdog, rightfully so. But if they won that game, I don't think they would be favored in the last 6 games of the season.
Maybe Texans. That would be on the road.
I think that might be picking, because
the
Texans aren't playing the way that everybody assumed or expected the Texans to play.
You know who did expect the Texans to play that way?
You did.
You and I both.
And the Dolphins, if they're on a 5-game winning streak by that time, I think people might make it a pick 'em or might have the Dolphins favorite. But nonetheless, I don't think they would be an underdog of more than 3.5 for the rest of the season other than this game.
Everything ahead of you.
Yeah, everything ahead of them. And then when they started out the drive, they were up 3-0. I'm like, all right, cool. You were at the 6, but all right, cool. They scored. And then from 3-0, they were outscored 24 consecutive points.
Yeah.
Special teams turnover. Defense, missing tackles. Offense, not moving the ball.
Penalties all over the place.
Penalties all over the place. And even though the numbers look good, and we're going to talk about the numbers right now.
Some of them.
But Tua was 3 passes. 2 he missed to Tyreek. 1 he overthrew him. 1 he underthrew him. Then he missed Devon Achane.
That was a 4th down that would have gotten us in field goal range at the end of the half.
What is going on? And then the play calling. Okay, cool. Second half, you go 3-0.
Right when you at the point you could have turned the game on, not its head, but changed things. Scoring before the half, scoring at the very beginning of the second half. Instead, you got outscored 6-0.
Pretty much. And that's the game.
And then you say, oh, no, we're a good team, though. We're a playoff team. Well, the playoff team would have scored a touchdown at the end of the half and a touchdown at the beginning of the half. At least a field goal and another field goal. Green Bay's a playoff team. They did that at least.
And listen, guys, call us up 305-567-0560 or text us at 305.
Show up at my apartment
or call us or text
1890.
message. I need to understand, Kuzan. Why can't they get Tyreek and Jalen Waddle involved in the offense early in the game?
It's been taken away. That's all. The only thing I can think of, it's been defenses have figured it out and they take them away. It seems like a struggle. It just there's something. The defensive culture of the NFL has figured something out that they've taken them away because it's just a struggle, it seems like. And there were points, it seemed like in the second half when we were down by a lot that we got a good rhythm going. Maybe it's because they were playing more of a prevent than an actual defense. Nonetheless, NFL defenses have figured ways to slow down at least Tyreek. Now, guys like Jonnu Smith and Devon Achane are eating when it comes to passing because everything's underneath and they don't want to get beat deep. But yeah, something's been figured out. Go to the stats. Tua Tagovailoa. I mean, he ate today. 37 for 46.
A lot of empty calories.
365 yards and 2 touchdowns. You look at the Vlad. There's
great for fantasy.
A lot of people in this country had a long day. Early in the morning, maybe went out last night with the family, eating, drinking, partying. Went to bed maybe a little early. Maybe even went to bed when they saw the score was 24-3 at halftime. They wake up the next day, they see 30-17. Oh, decent game. Tua, whoa, 37 for 46, 365, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions. He was balling. I never got the sense that Tua was balling tonight.
No. You know what Tua got? Second help. Those were second helpings.
Yeah.
Just we're talking about Thanksgiving. Those were second helpings, second and third helpings. That wasn't it. You know what I mean? That wasn't like the main course. That wasn't like the first meal. Nah. Those were like second. Yeah, he was great. Whoever has 2 on their fantasy, I know we're in week 13, so the season's about to end. Great stats. Definitely helped you out. But like I said, didn't do nothing in the scoreboard or the record that really matters.
Yeah, I was going to say, you know what Tua would trade 37-46, 365 yards, 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. That 0-8 when cold weather games that he's started in.
Another narrative.
He would trade that probably real quick.
And now, is that 0-8 with Mike McDaniel as the coach or 0-8 before with Flores? Because I do remember Flores winning in New England. And it seemed like they were just, whatever. But they weren't this. They weren't this.
Mike McDaniel, Mr. Run Guru. Run is my baby. Let me give you some numbers, Vlad, or lack thereof. Once again, Raheem Mostert. There was some Raheem Mostert sightings today. 5 carries, 19 yards. He led all rushers.
That's crazy because I actually looked at it. I was like, yeah, he's actually running well. No, he wasn't.
He led all rushers. 5 carries, 19 yards.
Pause. What was his longest run?
I don't even have this longest run. Devon Achane, 7 carries, 14 yards for a paltry average of 2 yards a carry. And then Tua had that 2 rushes for 6 yards.
You might have hit if you were hitting the Hard Rock back and the over on 2 rushing yards. You might have hit it.
Vlad,
You might have hit
Raheem Most. Oh no, you did hit it. It was 2.5.
Okay. So all right. So his long. So okay.
Raheem Mostert had like an 11-yard run.
5 carries for 19 yards. His longest run was 12 yards.
Oh God!
So that means the other 4 carries was for 7 yards. Devon Achane, 7 carries for 14 yards. His longest carry was 13 yards. That means the other 6 carries was for 1 yard.
For 1 yard. Oh my.
14 carries for 39 yards, bro.
Vlad, in Pop Warner football, if your leading rusher has 5 carries and 19 yards, you're not going to win the game.
Tua, 2 carries for 6 yards. His longest run was 9 yards. So that means there was another carry.
There was a lot of negative carries in the game then.
14 carries for 39 yards. You cannot win an NFL game, and especially in that temperature. And this is where the weather matters. You have to be able to run the ball and stop the run in that type of environment.
I thought that's the team we had. Ball control, run the ball, make some timely passes.
And if I look at Green Bay's numbers, 25 carries for 114 yards as a team.
Yeah, nobody jumps up. I thought Josh Jacobs had a better day. He had 19 carries for 43 yards.
Right, but it didn't seem like he was just being more physical and just
Chris Brooks
breaking
revenge.
tackles.
Former Dolphin Chris Brooks, 3 carries, 28 yards, had a couple big runs in there. Jaden Reed had that 1 run for 23 yards. That was a little end around. Emmanuel Wilson, 2 runs, 20 yards. Jordan Love, by the way, he was 21 for 28, 274 yards, 2 touchdowns. Looked like he was just having a day in the park, man. He threw some dimes. That first touchdown pass, Storm Duck was in position. It was just a dime. He was throwing dimes in that cold weather. And that Tucker Kraft, tight end from South Dakota State, from a town of like 500 people with 0 stoplights, was running over us, bro.
And oh my God, they were running. Not only were they running over you guys, they were hurting guys. Like the whole secondary was injured because guys were getting run over.
Yeah, secondary is beat up though.
Oh, yeah, that's because they were getting run over. They were trying to tackle guys, and guys were just like boom, bouncing off them. Even penalties that guys were getting, Christian Watson was just throwing guys off. They were just it was oh man.
One more time, Raheem Mostert led the team in rushing with 5 carries, 19 yards. And remind me, Vlad, what was his long carry of the day? 12 yards.
1 carry for 12 yards. So that means the other 4 was for 7. But Devon Achane had 7 carries for 14 yards. His longest carry was 13 yards.
Whoo! Putrid is the word I would put. Putrid. I want to get positive, though. So let's hear from Tua Tagovailoa in next segment. Next segment, we're going to hear Tua. Maybe Tua, he's from Hawaii. He had, numbers-wise, a big day.
What is that? I got to ask you, what does being from Hawaii have to do with
Because, man, it's fun in the sun. You're groovy, baby. Things are fun.
I don't want to hear
you
no
live out in California. You know the vibes.
I don't want to hear no positivity from this team.
Well, we'll hear
nasty work, man.
We'll hear what Tua has to say next on Game Day Uncensored, 560 WQAM.
Time for more Game Day Uncensored, post-game edition on AM 560 Sports, WQAM, FM 99.9 HD2, and always live on the free Odyssey app.
Sponsored by South Florida Lexus Dealers, Tito's Handmade Vodka, Edmore Sawgrass Cadillac, JM Lexus, and Williamson Automotive.
All preseason long, all off season long, all season long, and all week long, it was about changing the narratives, winning a playoff game, winning a game against a playoff team, winning on the road against a good team, winning in cold weather, and this year, and this game, and this season, and this day, they lived up to the narrative that is they can't do any of those, and they're not going to do any of those. I'm not going to sit here and sunshine pump and say schedule plays out. No, this game exposed the Miami Dolphins for who they are, and that is not a top tier team in the NFL. Tua Tagovailoa, he may be a top tier quarterback on the field. I like what he does. He had big numbers today, although he missed a couple of passes in very critical moments. Still, big time numbers, and we know we're better with him than we are without him. Tua Tagovailoa, though, talked about he was going to change narratives tonight. Didn't do so much. So in the press conference, he was asked, Tua Tagovailoa, did you guys make improvements tonight, or did you digress? And this is Tua kind of telling you kind of both.
I think the things that we progressed on, we somewhat ended up digressing within the first half. Pre-snap penalties, things that, we thought we were getting better at. You look at penalties in general outside of the pre-snap penalties. Just the operation wasn't our style of football that we showed, and that's not how we wanted to start. That's not how we wanted to play. But I am proud of this team for continuing to stay in it. In the second half, we had an opportunity, to come back. Nobody blinked. Everybody continued to stay in the fight. And yeah. Yeah, the play to Achane. Achane was where he needed to be. That was just a missed throw, on something very simple. That's on me. And then on that fourth down play where I took the sack, it was one of those where I seen Alec fall. And as I got through to Jalen, I couldn't really navigate to see if he won his matchup or not. And then by that time, it's just trying to maneuver through the pocket and, hopefully find an opening to find somebody on a scramble drill. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I wouldn't say anything really. I wouldn't say any of the things that were out there as far as the elements are going to be used as an excuse for the reason as to why we started slow. When you're on the road, it's always tough to communicate and operate at such a high level the way you want to. And that's why it's very premier that, in walkthrough and practice, when it is loud that you're locking in. So, did I hear this? Did I hear that? Or did I say the correct thing in the huddle? And are we getting out there and doing what we need to do to execute this play? So I would say from my standpoint and from our team standpoint, we're not going to use any of that as an excuse as to why we didn't get the start that we wanted.
How challenging did that make it for your offense forward? Packers kind of selling out some.
I think it makes it challenging for any offense to go out there and to not sort of be one-dimensional, but to mix in runs and then mix in play passes with those runs. Obviously tonight we're a little more pass heavy, but it does make it tougher. But sometimes that's what the game asks of you, especially when you're playing catch up from behind. Mm-hmm. As far as season hopes, I would say that this one was a tough one for us as a team. I know what this game meant to a lot of guys in that locker room. I wouldn't say the dream's dead for our team just yet. Anything can happen in this league, and we're gonna watch the film. We're gonna look over things that we need to get better at. We're gonna come back next week, and we're just gonna keep chopping wood, and find a way to win the next game, and keep stacking those again.
Way to end it on a positive note right there. Tua Tagovailoa. His answers did not instill a lot of confidence in me, Vlad. When asked if the weather was an issue, he said, we're not going to use the weather as an issue. It's just hard to go on the road, and you don't know if you say the right things or hear the right things or do the right things. Winning teams go out there and say, win or lose on the road, we got this. He doesn't use the weather as an excuse. He says just being on the road is hard. It's tough. They're loud. They're not quiet and nice to us. What? You didn't hear that? And then goals. Oh, I mean, he couldn't lie and say, well, this game is just another game, because they made it out to be changing the narrative. Anything could happen in this league, Vlad.
They had no room or margin for error.
And they didn't help themselves.
Okay. You win this game, you're 4-game winning streak, and people are looking at you.
I'm looking at you.
No, but people are going to start looking at you, because now you can't say they can't win in the cold. You can't say they can't beat a good team on the road. Okay? This is one of the better teams in this NFL.
Yes.
All right? They're 9-3 now, but they came into this game 8-3. It's one of the 3 best records in the NFC.
And one of the few teams they've lost to, the Detroit Lions.
4 best records.
Good.
Right. But they've only lost to the Lions and the Vikings and the Eagles.
It's not a bad resume.
So they lost to the 3 teams that are ahead of them in the conference.
Not a bad
who
resume.
are good. And the games that they lost were close games.
Not a bad resume.
So if you beat this team, this would be good for the resume.
Vlad, this is what we'd be doing if they won. I'd be telling you this. This is a different team this year. They have a different mentality. Calais Campbell, Zach Sealer, Mike McDaniel has realized that last year's flashiness doesn't work. We're a ball control team that wants to run the ball and make the pass when we want. We're built differently.
No, you're not. You know what it
But
is?
I lied to myself. Or they lied to me, or I believed what I wanted to believe. And now the truth is out there. I'm sorry. X-Files. The truth is out there.
And here's the other thing. What did I say when we were watching the game?
Definitely can't run the ball.
We can't run the ball. But the other thing is like this. There's no depth in this team where it feels like if none of the superstars, if like Tyreek and Jalen Waddle not getting off quick, this game, the offense is limited. Defensively, I didn't really hear Zach Sealer's name mentioned at all. Calais at all. Jalen Ramsey made one play where he deflected the ball. Hopefully, we were hoping that it could have been an interception, because that really could have changed the momentum of this game. But yeah, if the stars don't play great, then this team really doesn't have a chance of really competing.
What have we been saying all year? It seems like, Vlad, when the stage gets big, the Dolphins get small. And what happened tonight?
I mean, first half, they decreased.
You heard from Sealer once and Calais Campbell early in the game. And that on the third down, on the third play of the game, Jalen Ramsey almost got that interception. Tyreek did get a touchdown late. Jalen Waddle had some big passes. Jonnu Smith had another big day as we were checking down. Tua's doing a great job checking down this year. Remember last year, we knocked him for 2-touch Tua. If he has to tap the ball twice, he's in trouble. This year, he's doing great with his progressions, but it's not leading to too many points. We'll go to the phone lines real quick. One more call, 305-567-0560, 560 WQAM. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Call from Man of God.
Turn the radio off, bro.
I'm on?
Yes, you are.
Hey, let me tell y'all something. Hey, Dolphins fans, y'all better understand when you are totally being disrespected. You have to see it. See, the thing about it is, you got a little quarterback, a little head coach, small mentality, and just flowers as players. These players they represent and they reflect their coach and their quarterback. Soft. They don't. When it's a big situation, they shrink.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So my thing about it is, we got to show our disapproval by leaving these Dolphins. I mean, just leave them alone for a while. And hey, when they go play them games, ain't nobody show up. I guarantee you, they will see how we feel about being embarrassed. Because every time our team get a chance to be under the lights in big games, we get embarrassed. Because why? We got a bunch of people, but our team is made up of bullies. They bully the small people, the soft people, but when they come up and they see another bully on the other side, they want to serve them drinks and serve them food. We have a subservient team. Trust me when I tell you, these guys are not what it takes. Man, I'm tired of the foolishness. Let's stop fooling each other and let these Dolphins know we're not taking it no more. It's a wrap. It's a wrap with the foolishness. It's just a wrap, bro.
Carlton, you're right. You're preaching.
I hear what Carlton's saying, man. Like it's frustrating, bro.
I mean,
and listen, I'm not even a fan of the team, but I cover the team, so you gain a certain respect for the team. And winning 3 in a row and seeing the way that they did not let the season slip, at least to me at that time, I thought that was very commendable. I'm like, all right, man. They still listen to McDaniel. McDaniel's got this team together. Uno's back. This team is feeling themselves. And they started feeling themselves. They started talking. They started having this people believe. Think about it, folks. 3 weeks ago, you thought if this game was on Thursday night, this was not going to be a good game. They won 3 in a row. They got everyone, man, I'm going to eat dinner. And after I eat this Thanksgiving dinner with my family, I'm going to sit down and watch my team play. Watch the Dolphins play on the premier game on Thanksgiving. Thursday night against Green Bay in Lambeau Field. And it was a balmy 28 degrees. And after scoring a field goal to start the game, they were down. They let 27 points get scored on them. 27.
No, they're down right away 7-0 after that punt.
Huh? No,
they were down 7-0.
I'm sorry. After 3 points, then they scored a field goal. Then it was 7-3. It was 7-3. And then 20 points were scored after that.
I think Carlton had it best when he put the analogy. We're like that guy and girl in school that beats up on the little kids, the younger kids, but when the real bullies come around, we serve them drinks and snacks.
They're frauds.
I can't argue with Carlton.
They're frauds. That's what it is. It's frauds. It's selling wolf tickets.
When someone walks up and says, pick on someone your own size, it's just, With that being said, next, JM Lexus Player of the Game. And we'll hear from Coach Mike McDaniel, who a lot of people want to have answers. And none of this talking around. We want answers, Mike McDaniel. We'll see if he gives us answers later. This is Game Day Uncensored on 560 WQAM. It is time for the JM Lexus Player of the Game at JM Lexus. It's the perfect time to catch the deal you've been waiting for. As the Golden Opportunity Sales event continues, don't miss your opportunity to score even more now at JM Lexus. This is an interesting one this week, Vlad, because as bad as it sounds, every week, some weeks there's only been one person that's been a standout. This week, did anybody really stand out? So it's making it tough to pick this JM Lexus Player of the Week.
Are we gonna? I mean,
no. I don't duck.
We don't like empty calories.
I don't duck. No. I do like the empty calories, especially on Thanksgiving. So I'm gonna give my JM Lexus Player of the Game to Tua Tagovailoa. After all, he did go 37 for 46, 365 yards, 2 touchdowns, no fumbles this week, no interceptions. And the reason he's getting my JM Lexus Player of the Week is because he did start getting into a rhythm in the second half. It did look like the Miami Dolphins of old. Even the announcers go, now that's the Miami Dolphins we know. So maybe kind of getting the momentum going. 365 yards, though, that's tough to do in the cold weather. He at least breaks the narrative that he can't pass in the cold weather. So my JM Lexus Player of the Game, Tua Tagovailoa. Vlad, who do you have?
I have Jonnu Smith, man.
He's been great this year.
Unbelievable. Once again, being the guy, being the safe haven for Tua. 10 receptions, 113 yards, 11 targets. So catching 10 out of 11 targets is amazing.
He's having a career year, by the way.
I mean, I don't think anybody's put up as a tight end the numbers he has for the past 3 weeks, because the last 2 weeks they said nobody's put up the numbers that he did, and he followed that up tonight with 10 catches, 113 yards.
He started slow, but he has been great of late.
And this is what's so frustrating, because this was what you imagine about this offense with the acquisition of Jonnu Smith, that you have 2 wide receivers, you have Achane in the backfield, and now you have a tight end. And the tight end is putting up numbers, but this offense, for some reason, can't get points in the end zone. It's frustrating.
Another thing I was dead wrong about, and we'll tell you when we're right, I was dead wrong about my Wody, Odell Beckham Jr. Goodness gracious, that did not work out.
Are y'all ready when I said fleece?
Man, I really thought he was going to solidify that number 3 receiver. 1 reception for 9 yards tonight. 1 reception for 9 yards. Malik Washington, not much better. 2 receptions for 8 yards.
And special teams
blunder that basically, if you were paying attention, cost us the game, the 4th play into the game.
Took all the momentum out, man.
Oh my goodness. And he looked the part too. Like, that looks like a Dolphins guy trying to field a punt in the cold weather and the snow's in his eyes. Yep, that's about right. Tyreek Hill started to kind of look like Tyreek Hill today. 6 receptions, 83 yards. He got another touchdown. Jalen Waddle kind of looked like Jalen Waddle today. 4 receptions, 53 yards. I don't know, though, man. Devon Achane caught 8 passes, 56 yards, and 1 touchdown. They love that little comeback screen where he goes out and then does like a V-cut, comes back in. He's effective on it, though, man. He was more effective as a receiver than he was a runner. Let's go look around the NFL. Man, so much to digest with that Bears-Lions game earlier today. The Bears looked like they didn't know what the game of football was forever. The Lions looked like they were the Lions, and the Bears all of a sudden started coming back. Caleb Williams started looking like a pro, started looking like the number 1 overall pick, started looking like the franchise. The Bears get the ball 23-20 with about 3 or 4 minutes left to go. They start sort of driving down the field. They get a lucky penalty, get the ball. And was it a sack on Caleb Williams with about 33 seconds left, and they have a timeout. So you say, okay, maybe they're trying to run a quick play, get into field goal position, because it was 3rd down and it was 3rd and like 26. So you thought maybe run a play, call a timeout, kick a field goal. Or, you know what? Clock's kind of getting away from them. Call a timeout. No, Matt Eberflus decides to just go ahead and eat that timeout. And the Bears kind of run a play, kind of don't. They snap the ball with 8 seconds. Then Caleb Williams doesn't even throw the ball to the end zone. He throws it 5 yards short of the end zone. You know what we say about that, Vlad? If you're a Bears fan and you lose that game, you have a very famous statement you like to say. What is that saying if you're a Bears fan right now?
Streets need a body.
Streets need a body, and we all know who that body is. The question is, when do the streets get that body?
I think tomorrow.
You think
he should have been fired on the way to the back from Chicago. It's not a long trip.
No,
like no, seriously, because it's really
Dude.
you lose 2 games this season. No, you lost many games closely, but the 2 famous ones is today and then the Hail Maryland.
Yep. 2 games you
Dude,
should. Well, today you.
If
I'm not
there
saying
is
you should have
one thing a
should have
coach
lost.
can never have, all right,
His signature losses.
is not only signature losses, but you
Embarrassing.
cannot lose with timeouts in your pocket.
And we were so mad about Mike McDaniel earlier this year with not icing. Was it the Cardinals game? Where he didn't ice the kicker and then said, I was worried about the next. Yeah, he said, I was worried if he missed the field goal, we wanted the timeout. And I was worried about the next play and I wanted to do this. And you can't eat timeouts in close games.
No.
But if you're Matt Eberflus, you got to put your phone on silent because every time it rings, you're going to be terrorized because you're waiting for like, I know it's Black Friday, but if you could come into the office, I mean, the earlier the better, like 8 a.m. Oh, well, I just want to talk about some things. What about what? Just, come on in. Come on in.
Yeah. Fire. Jeez.
Well, am I in trouble? Just come in. Just come. Actually, if you could be there like 7:30, that'd be really good. Yeah. Do you own an SUV? Because if you have a car or an SUV, you should probably take the SUV with you. Why would I need my SUV? I'm just saying, Matt Eberflus.
And the sad part about it right now, there's a lot of people right now that think Mike McDaniel should feel this way right now.
Right. What Mike McDaniel has is way less of a sin than what Matt Eberflus has done this year to the Bears organization. Matt Eberflus, I don't think there's a Bears fan out there that would be upset if we find out tomorrow that he's fired, nonetheless.
I expect it.
I think he gets a little bit more time than that, but I don't know. Could be wrong. Cowboys, Giants. If you needed a tryptophan nap this afternoon,
that was it.
That was it because you did not miss much other than a big defensive play. That was garbage. Dolphins, we've digested that. This week in the NFL, let's take a look. Big rivalry, although it's probably not going to be that juicy of a game. That is going to be happening today at 3:00 in the afternoon. Black Friday, Chiefs, Raiders. Any hope for the Raiders in that game? It's at Arrowhead.
No, not really. But we're all really looking to see how the stream is gonna go.
Oh yeah, will it buffer?
Will it buffer?
Will it buffer? Sunday at 1, you get Texans, Jaguars. You're expecting the Texans to just take care of business. We'll wait and see.
We'll see.
I know. The Texans keep you guessing. Colts, Patriots. Wow, that is a dolty game right there, but that is an interesting game. Oh, no, wait. It's not as interesting anymore with the Dolphins lost tonight, but I would say it's an interesting game as a Dolphins fan because the Colts lose to the Patriots, and you're right where you need to be in the playoff hunt. But once again, Dolphins cannot win in the cold weather, and they can't beat a playoff team, so that becomes somewhat of a moot point. Chargers, Falcons, that's an interesting one. 2 playoff contending teams. I expect the Chargers to win that game because I still think the Falcons are exactly what I've been calling them all year, frauds. Seahawks, Jets, that's an interesting one, because the Seahawks, they're trying to hold on to first place.
There's nothing interesting about that. The Seahawks Jets, better win.
It's just interesting to see how bad this thing's going to be. I can't wait to see what the Jets are going to look like January 5th when they play the Dolphins at the end of the year, Vlad.
What do you mean?
They could be just totally gutted and totally different team.
No, we'll see.
Could not. Titans, Commanders. That Titans have shown some signs. Will Levis puts up numbers. I mean, Tua put up numbers today too, but nonetheless, Will Levis puts up numbers. The Commanders have been slumping a little bit lately. That'll be an interesting one Sunday at 1. Bengals, Steelers.
I like that game.
If the Bengals are going to make a playoff push, you know how we said today for the Dolphins, this is it. This is it for the Bengals.
Well, no, now the Dolphins loss opens the window for the Bengals.
That's what I'm saying. The Bengals have to win this game against a good Steelers team, or else I'm ready to write them off this season. I've been holding on my cousin, Joe Burrow, and Jamar Chase, and those guys. I keep believing in them. This is the game they have to make you believe. Also, you got a Cardinals-Vikings game. That's a pretty juicy game right there. Cardinals, as we know, better than we thought when they beat us. And then the Vikings, they just keep winning. And, of course, we know the Andrew Van Ginkel, and they have a coach over there with the Vikings that seems to be pretty darn good.
I would like to say.
Oh, no, I don't want to say anything about it. You can.
Ever since somebody went to somebody's local show and called out their former coach.
Oh,
that former coach has looked right for the last 3 months.
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
One guy took the high road. One guy took the low road. Didn't age well. Saints Rams. Vlad and I both have my Saints beating the Rams because that's just what the Saints do. They beat the Rams. They're long.
I have money on you guys.
Division rivals. Buccaneers Panthers. That's another division. Well, the Saints Rams, a former division rivalry. Buccaneers Panthers. That is a division rivalry. Baker Mayfield continues to play really, really hard. Panthers continue to just suck really, really hard. The Eagles Ravens. That's a juicy one, man. Eagles to me are, if not the second best team in the NFL right now, maybe at worst third best team. They're playing really well. You got Detroit, Kansas City, and the Eagles to me are the three best teams in the NFL right now. The Ravens, they're so hit or miss. One week they look like the best team in the NFL. The next week they look like they're losing to the.
You know what the Ravens remind me of? They're the NFL version of Alabama.
Yes, that is exactly what they are. They can beat Georgia, although Georgia
they could beat all the great
lose to
teams
Vanderbilt.
and then have a lead and then get their ass beat or somehow lose a game. I don't understand, but yeah. But I can't wait. That is the game of the week.
Sunday night game, an old school rivalry game. Bills 49ers.
Right, because Chris Berman always wanted that to be his Super Bowl.
Yeah.
No.
This is to see if the 49ers can start making a clap. The 49ers, believe it or not, as much trouble.
Who's playing? Who's starting?
I think Brock Purdy's back this week.
I heard he was limited in practice.
Uh-oh.
I don't know if you want to go with Braden now.
But is the Bills going to go out there and take care of business like they've been taking care of business all year long? We'll see. And your Monday night football game, Browns Broncos.
Nasty work.
Do you get the good Jameis Winston? Do you get the bad Jameis Winston?
No. It's bad juju Jameis. Because every time you want to jump on the Jameis bandwagon,
you want to
after
like
a
him.
good game, he always thinks it up.
He's a likable guy until he gives you his stinker game.
You know, I feel like he is. You know, there are guys that I think we must always protect because of the joy that they bring to the world. Jameis Winston is one of them. Like, we must protect them at all times.
Broncos, Browns. Sean Payton seems to kind of know what he's doing over there. Bo
He's a hell of a coach, man. Better. He's a hell of a coach.
There was a point where I might have even said it looks like maybe he's over the. I was
kind of ripping him last year. I didn't like the way he was treating Russ, but they were still winning. And the whole thing with Nathaniel Hackett. But you know what? The man let Russell go, and it worked, and it seems to have worked out very well for both sides. Russell's leading the Steelers first place, and Nathaniel has his quarterback on the cheap. I mean, not Nathaniel. I'm sorry. Sean Payton has his quarterback on the cheap, and the Broncos have a chance to make the wild card.
Main takeaway, if you're living here in South Florida right now, the narrative is
Dolphins
real.
Might not make the wild card. That's the narrative.
The narrative is the Dolphins cannot win in cold weather, and they cannot beat a playoff team, at least not yet. Argue with me. I got facts. Tonight was a really Exhibit A. We're going to hear from Mike McDaniel and hear what he has to say about the game, and we're going to wrap up the show on this Thanksgiving, although it's not Thanksgiving anymore. It is Black Friday edition of Game Day Uncensored on 560 WQAM.
560 Sports, WQAM, FM 99.9 HD2, and always live on the free Odyssey app.
Sponsored by South Florida Lexus dealers, Tito's Handmade Vodka, Edmore Sawgrass Cadillac, JM Lexus, and Williamson Automotive.
On a Thanksgiving night where the Dolphins had everything to prove, they proved a lot that the narratives are true. Tua Tagovailoa, although he passed for 365 yards and 2 touchdowns, when he needed some big passes, he kind of overthrew them or underthrew them or missed the target. Mike McDaniel, when he needed to make the right call, kind of didn't make the right call, kind of just busted things up. Defense, when he needed to make big tackles, missed a lot of big tackles. Special teams, you get the picture. Cold weather, playoff team equals loss for the Dolphins, equals the narrative is true. This team, probably not a playoff team, definitely not going to beat very many playoff teams, and has trouble in the cold weather. Postgame, Mike McDaniel stepped to the mic, was asked about those narratives, and in Mike McDaniel's way, spoke about how those narratives, at least for now, rang true.
Yeah, no, that's the thing with narratives. There's one way to change them. And so, my expectation would be, those who, the naysayers will, you prove them right, they'll be louder. So that's part of the territory. You carry that until you do something about it. And unfortunately, we didn't tonight. Well, I think that's, I'll have to have a calculated answer for that. I'll have to refer to the tape from my eyewitness accounts. There's it's an accumulation. Partial is that, you got to give the Packers credit. That's kind of their game. They put guys in space and force you to tackle them. And that's part the missed tackle player, part pursuit, collective defense against talented space players. Is you need to stop the ball or force a guy to redirect, and then you have to have a teammate come to your aid. So generally, from what I saw, it was a collection of things. I think that there was some positive parts to how they played, but I know there's going to be some frustrated individuals when they watch the tape because of that. I think the weather and the cold. I didn't really see that as much of a factor as it was playing football and technique and fundamentals of bringing our feet collectively and getting our hips into tackles and wrapping up. I think the biggest thing is that on a Thursday night game in a short week, you have to be clean, and we weren't, and they were a lot cleaner in terms of penalties, in terms of just our style of play, how complimentary we were specifically in the last game. We were not that tonight, and I thought we they made us pay. For instance, first drive, you're 3 and out to get the ball back, and that special teams turnover equaled 7 points. A turnover on downs on the 1 yard line equaled 7 points. That's 14 points in a 13-point game. Yeah, it was a tough spiraling punt that kind of turned over unexpectedly on him. And as a competitor, he's trying to field every ball, but when you're reacting to a flight change at the last second, you you have to fight your instinct and run the opposite way. You know, he's trying to be great and not allow an inside the 5 drive, but that spirit worked against us. And you know, the most important thing was hanging onto the ball. We'd prefer the ball on the 3-yard line with our possession, as opposed to you know, their possession at the 9. So that's a tough learning lesson, but you know, fortunately, you know, at least with a guy like Malik, it won't be in vain. But I know it's going to be tough for him to swallow, and for all of us to swallow.
Like going back to what you said, turnover on downs from the 1 yard. What happened on this?
No, it was you know, there's 3 plays in particular. I think the first down on the 9, and then the following play that I thought, you know, there was some technique errors that could have got us into the end zone. And then, you know, there's a play call that I would absolutely like to have back. That you know, so it was a collection of things, you know, over the 4-play process that you know, will be tough for us to swallow when we watch the film. Yeah, yeah, I did. Well, yeah, I would say it was that one. Yeah. That you know, on the other side, we didn't come all this way to have this stop us. Yeah, your margin of error is smaller, but tough-minded individuals can learn from the things that kept us from the victory column this game, and utilize it in the last 5 games. Biggest thing is that you don't even you hyper focus on the next thing and take it one game at a time. The same way that we did when we were 2-6. I told them 5-7 pales in comparison to 2-6. To me, that was we've dug ourselves. We've positioned ourselves to be in a situation where we could withstand a 1-game setback and still be able to get things done. It's a long season left, and a lot of things can and will happen. But the main thing we have to do is make sure that all of these things that specifically the self-inflicted wounds, that we use that to our benefit and make sure that those things aren't keeping us from winning football games moving forward. And if you are tough enough to withstand that, which I really believe are absolutely frustrated locker room who knows that you know, it just gets really, really frustrating when you know you're capable of winning a game, and you can point to yourself as why you lost it, and that's the biggest thing that they are eager to make right, because they believe in each other, they believe in this team, and we didn't do it justice this week, and so you have to press forward, and that's really all you can do.
Schedule lines up. You'll have probably have 2 more cold weather games right at the end of the season. What's the most confidence level you can kind of produce some cold weather after this game? You did have to come back there in the second half.
Yeah, no, I mean, there's there's correlation or causation, you know, and that will always be the case. You know, from my vantage point, we weren't failing to snap the ball before a delay of game or false starting because of the cold. and I think the guys. I think the tape will show that when we watch it tomorrow. But like anything else, eventually you have to overcome it if you're trying to do anything in this league. So that narrative, like good teams and et cetera, correlation, causation, it will always exist until you defeat it. So I think our guys will look forward to executing in the cold weather at the next opportunity because, I don't think they love. I think they know they can, and so they need to, and they want to. So we'll take advantage of that op when it comes. Yeah, lower back. He's he cleared protocol. They checked him for that, but it was his lower back. So we'll find out some more information tomorrow. Yeah, his shoulder. I think it came out, so he was in a good amount of pain. We'll see what that looks like tomorrow. No, I'm just talking with Chris and where our roster was at, and the players that have earned the right to be on it. It's a numbers game in the NFL, so the timing I don't think was necessarily ideal.
Just kind of going off of Shaq Barry, did he convey to you guys that he wanted to play for the Dolphins, to play for the Dolphins, or did he make it clear that he wanted to play for the team?
No, it wasn't any measured situation like that where he was posturing one way or the other. Like I said, we just found out in a I think on a day that I had a press conference with you guys, and that's it was more of that. It wasn't whether he wanted to play there or here. He knew we had his contractual rights, so it was more of, all right, well, where are we at? And let's look at our roster.
Mike McDaniel speaking with the media after the devastating loss to the Green Bay Packers. He is right. They have a very thin margin for error with 5 games left in the season. The reason I say thin is because they could technically lose one more game and they get a lot of help. They got to win basically all 5 games and still get a lot of help.
10-7 may get you win. I don't know if 9-8 will.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. It's not razor thin. It is very thin, but let's get ready. The Jets are coming to town. They got a game not this coming Sunday, but the following Sunday at 1 o'clock. Vlad and I'll be all over it for the postgame, the pregame, the whole game right here on 560 WQAM. Once again, Vlad, Dolphins lose. Tough. Green Bay Packers 30-17. Happy Thanksgiving. Happy Black Friday. Vlad, hope you have a great one, man.
You too, cousin.
For my cousin Vladimir Lewis, I am Dan Day, and this is Game Day Uncensored on 560 WQAM.
Later, folks.